welcome back to the Funny Thing Is podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Birch, where every week I bring you a guest who shares a life-changing event, the medicine they took to get better, and the funniest lesson they learned along the way. Today, I have a very special guest for you. She is the author of Fetishized. This is Kyla Yu. Welcome to the stage.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. So we first start off by sharing a life-changing event. So what is something you'd like to share?
I've honestly had many life-changing events, but like the most recent and most profound, I think, is just getting sober.
Okay.
Because I had did drugs and alcohol for many a year.
Okay.
And then tried to get sober.
Right.
And there was no like lightning bolt moment or anything like that, but
no rock bottom or
yeah,
okay.
I mean there were so many bottoms.
Yeah.
But like I was still like a high bottom, like when you hear stories of some bottoms.
Right.
But when I finally got sober, like it seemed like my life was just a chaotic mix of like, why are all these crazy people in my life? Why is all this drama happening?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's because you're like abusing drugs and alcohol and your life is like a total mess.
Yeah. And you just kind of like realize that. So how did you work a program? Did you like, what did that look like?
I did. I worked a program and just like had a really good community of people.
Okay.
But before I got sober, I knew something was wrong. I was like going to these self-help classes, like trying spirituality, trying retreats, like spending thousands of dollars on a workshop.
Yeah.
And nothing ever stuck, you know. Right. You'd read a book and get inspired for a week and then
it would go away. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was like, I think when I first started doing like spirituality stuff, I wanted a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to deep dive into anything. Yeah. Okay. So what is the book that you've just written? What is that? How does that tie into everything?
So the book's titled Fetishized, and it talks about a little bit of that sobriety, but it's kind of like a memoir about the fetishization of Asian women and my experience of it.
Right.
And it also really delves into the 2000s, so media that influenced me. There's so few Asian representations back then.
Right.
So I basically in my book cover all of them because it's not hard. There's like five.
So we can talk about all of them. Okay.
So it's like Memoirs of a Geisha, Kill Bill, The Harajuku Girls, and Fast and Furious, and a couple others.
And that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So what made you want to write the book?
It was a total accident, actually. I never wanted to write a memoir.
Right.
I never even wanted to write. But what happened during the pandemic, I had gotten into a writing career. I used to be in the music industry. And then when that ended, I somehow fell into writing.
Amazing.
Travel writing. Really, I just wanted free trips.
That's great.
So literally, I just wanted free trips. So I figured out how to write for the publications that would get the best trips.
Great.
So I was doing that. The pandemic happened. All my trips were canceled. All my writing and work was canceled. And then I didn't know what to do. So I was like, oh, this is a great time to learn TikTok. I've always wanted to learn it and I've never had the time. And now I have all the time in the world. And then funnily enough, every big outlet was buying TikTok stories because that's all that was happening during the pandemic. Everyone is just on TikTok. And so I started throwing pizza at a wall, as we call it. Like with TikTok, you just like, oh, I'm going to try travel content, cooking content.
And see what sticks.
Yeah.
Right.
And I tried everything. And it was when I started posting about 2000s Asian American culture, that stuff started going viral.
That's amazing.
First of all, like nobody was really posting about it. And
it's so niche.
So niche. And then it's kind of forgotten. And then people felt so nostalgic because they were like, oh, nobody's like remembering this time.
Right.
And so I was doing that for a year and doing well. And then what happened was the Atlanta spa shootings.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is that there was like a sex addicted guy in Atlanta and he went and shot 8 people and 6 of them were Asian women.
Mm-hmm.
And then the media tried to say, this is not racially.
It was a random.
Yeah.
Right.
These were massage parlors he frequented.
Yeah.
And he was a very religious guy who had a sex addiction and was very ashamed of it and wanted to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of working on himself, he just like tried to eradicate the women.
I remember that. I took a deep dive on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was happening at the same time that there was so much Asian hate during the pandemic, like because, you know, it was called the Chinese virus or whatever by our president.
Yeah.
So people felt free to give their opinions on it. And so I think the Asian community got really outraged because there's a lot of violence against Asian women and it's not publicized or discussed. But this one went kind of viral because it was just the timing of everything. So that when that happened, I kind of reflected back on, I used to be a pinup model when I was like in my 20s. And then I was like, oh, because it's basically Asian fetishism that prompted his shooting. If you really like
think about it. Yeah.
I thought like, oh, how did I contribute? Because I was definitely courting the male gaze and like trying to play into that, you know?
Right.
So I wrote an article for Newsweek and that got some attention and that just eventually sparked the book idea.
Yeah. I think it's great. Where do you stand on like, because I'm so curious about the book in like your journey through it. Like, where do you stand on like Gwen Stefani? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Oh man, Gwen Stefani and what's happening to her now.
I know. Yeah. I know. Now it's the whole
she seemed. The thing is, I genuinely believe that Gwen Stefani was appreciating the culture.
Yeah.
Like that was her intention.
Right.
It did not come out that way.
Right.
And it did end up being problematic because it's basically and I loved the Harajuku girls.
Yeah.
Like there was no Asians anywhere. So it's like, I was like so excited to see these like beautiful girls dressed stylishly playing at the MTV Movie Awards, you know, like at the world's biggest stages.
Exactly.
Margaret Cho had a quote about this. She speaks out a lot about the Asian fetish and she said like, oh, there's so few I'm going to butcher her quote, but the gist of it is that she's like, oh, there's so like few Asians. We'd be glad just to follow around like a white person with an umbrella just to like be seen.
Right.
So that's like, and
that's what it kind of felt like with a white woman taking the lead of that. Yeah.
And she kind of called it, I think, a kind of blackface, I think. So basically, it's like the Harajuku girls, if you remember, they weren't allowed to talk. I think that's a rumored thing. Okay. And if they were speaking, they had to speak Japanese, even though some of them didn't like speak Japanese. And then she called them kind of her imaginary friends. And whenever you see them around her, they're kind of like, they're kind of very submissive to her. Yeah. So it's one thing if she had like a group of multicultural girls doing that then, but it's like a group of Asian girls like bowing down to you.
I remember watching Madonna like in the 80s and she would come out and she had that like stark blonde hair and then all the backup dancers were black.
Yeah.
And it was kind of that same thing where you're like, well, are you giving them a platform or are you utilizing it a way that's not best served for them?
Yeah, it's complicated, right? Because it is giving them a platform and we got to be seen in a way.
Right.
And that was good for the time. It wouldn't work now.
No, absolutely not. What is the goal of writing your book? What is the goal for it?
I think the goal is mostly because a lot of guys who seem to have the Asian fetish will always say it's a compliment. Like we like you. Like why are you mad about this?
Yeah.
And then my book really delves into the history of it. Like the fetish, like
please go into it.
Okay.
Please go into it.
I mean, the history of it is colonization. It's war, it's rape. It's like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the World War II. Here's a statistic that I don't have the exact numbers, but basically after World War II, after Japan fell, American forces came in to, set everything up or whatever. And then the Japanese government, who had this program of comfort women, where they would kidnap women, Koreans, other East Asian women, and have them serve men as prostitutes. Like,
oh my gosh.
Comfort women. Yeah. So they set up a comfort woman station for the Americans. And this was to prevent rape from happening for local women. So then they opened this place, and these women, somebody interviewed somebody, and the women said the sex was animalistic and ghastly, like it was horror, like the just sex that they can't even imagine. And it's like they were sleeping with dozens to 50 men a day.
Oh my God.
And then finally the center had to be shut down because there was a rampant STD breakout. And then, and I'm giving rough statistics, but after the center closed down, local rapes went from 40 to 330 a day. So it's
Get out.
Yeah. So the history, and this was happening in different Asian countries, like they'd go to, so after young military soldiers went to war, the government kind of had this not official program, but this program where it's called rest and restitution.
Right.
So they'd go send them off to some Asian country like Thailand.
Right.
And then it'd be filled with brothels and all these things. And that's their reward. And women could be bought for the price of a cigarette. Yeah.
It's crazy. I've been to Thailand. I have friends that live there now. And we went to the, I don't know, we call it the sex district or whatever that street is. And so we're like walking down it. And he goes, the difference here is like the women have ownership. It's very different than like being pimped out. Like they're their own working thing. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And like you pay the lady that owns the bar, you pay $20 and then you negotiate outside of that. And I remember seeing this absolutely gorgeous woman, probably the most attractive woman I've ever seen in my life. And she's on stage and there's this obese, gross American guy who's probably, I'm guessing, IT guy from Omaha. Do you know what I mean? He has very specific. He has not showered in a millennia. And he looks up at her and he goes, I'll take this one. And she looks down, she's like, no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he goes, oh, no, I'm sorry, you must be confused. And he pulls out $500 and he goes, I have money. And she goes, I said, in very crystal clear English, she goes, I said no.
Wow.
And he goes, no, I don't think. And then the boss lady comes and just kicks him out. And I was like,
okay.
Oh, this does feel different than what I was expecting. But then there's also now a documentary that I really want to see about it's the sex industry in different Asian cultures. There's a documentary coming out.
Oh my God. And
one of them takes place in Thailand.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's way scarier than the version I saw. So I'm like, oh, I want to watch that.
Oh my God, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
I can't believe I haven't heard of it.
I literally just heard about it when I was researching your stuff. So I'll send you the details on it. But it's like, we just never know and what position those people are in.
Yeah, I mean, from the woman's part, like these are impoverished countries where they're making enough to support their entire family and then some
by themselves
for a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not questioning their choices.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's like, you know,
but it's like the system that was created to do that is the issue. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Then also, when you bring up that guy, it brings up, did you watch White Lotus? And there was a viral moment.
I've only seen season 1.
This season, there was a viral moment where like one of the side characters goes to Thailand and talks about how he basically went there to fuck a bunch of Asian girls. And then there was another term that went viral because like I didn't even know this term before I watched the show, but it's called losers back home. So that's what like the Thai women refer to that man you were talking about. Like they could never get anyone back home.
Ever.
But
and
like,
the fact that he couldn't get one in Thailand is even better.
Yeah.
Like I also remember when I walked in, there were I walked in and I was the only American next to my friend who's now married to a Thai woman. And we walked in and there were like these 2 American boys who were, you know, talking to this beautiful woman. And you could tell that they hadn't done this before. They were kind of new. And like, I looked at them and they looked back at me and they're like, oh, like they felt like busted. Like they got caught doing something wrong. So they left. And I was like, I'm not your mom, but like, it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
It's hilarious.
Okay. So when does the book come out?
It's on August 19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're doing like a press tour that's part of this.
Yeah.
Right. So what are you hoping people get out of it?
Just that it isn't harmless.
Yeah.
And I thought it was harmless. Like when I was growing up in my 20s, like when I was a kid, no boys looked at me. I was nerdy. I was like ignored. So when I learned about this Asian fetish in my 20s, I was like, well, people want us, like that's a good thing, right? So I think that's what you may think when you're young, and I didn't realize, like when I was writing this book, I didn't even realize all the violence that's happening and all the history behind it. It's pretty deep. Like, yeah, most of the time the Asian fetish doesn't result in violence, but like those are the extreme examples that can happen if we just allow it.
Right. Okay. So what, I love Margaret Cho, by the way. She's like one of my, I've watched her since I think like early 90s.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We're actually doing a conversation.
I was about to say, you have to do something with her.
Yes. Yeah. On Barnes and Noble, it's the day my book comes out, we're doing a in conversation at the Grove.
The Grove. That's the perfect one to do it at. Oh my gosh. Do you know what date that is?
It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would love to go to that.
I'd love to get you.
Please.
In there.
That'd be great. Where can people follow you?
So my name's Kyla Yu, and you can just find me everywhere under my name for the website and the social media and everything.
Great. And then, wait, I wanted to ask one more question. Is there any other stats you wanted to share? Any other history? I'm trying to think.
One thing I delve into is Memoirs of a Geisha.
Yes, please.
I don't know if you watched that, but like,
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I loved that book when it came out. It was so beautifully written by a white man, but it was very.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh
no! Wait, you didn't know. That is the perception. Nobody realizes that it's written by a white man.
Oh my gosh!
And it's not a true story, but it's presented as such.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that like burst a bubble.
Oh my God! So that just proves my point that it was marketed like that.
If you tell me Joy Luck Club was written by a white woman, I'd lose my mind. Okay, because that was like my mom's favorite thing. Okay,
that was a good book.
Okay,
but Memoirs of a Geisha, beautifully written book by a white man, presented as historical, completely inaccurate. So let's revisit this story because like it's a beautiful, lavish, gorgeous piece when you watch it and you're like, what a romantic story, right? But really, it's about child trafficking. She's like kidnapped from her house at 14 in the book. It's like some underage.
Right.
And then she's put in this geisha house. And then when she's just of age, still underage for our standards, her virginity is sold off to the highest bidder.
Oh my God.
And when you talk to geishas in Japan, they say this is not a real practice.
Okay.
Yeah. So then he made it into this whole thing that it's not. And that is the centerpiece of the movie, like her selling off her virginity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then at the end, the whole movie, she's obsessed with this man she meets when she's like 12 and he's 45.
Yes.
And she's like obsessed with him throughout the entire movie. And finally, at the end, she gets to be his sugar baby or mistress.
Right.
And that is like seen as
the goal.
Great.
Yeah. And that's seen as like popular and positive.
Yeah. So,
oh man.
But the movie very much presents Asian women as like submissive and like just really mainstreaming that ideology.
Right.
So a guy who's looking for that type of woman is just be like glamorized.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for doing this. That's great. I can't wait for it to come out. And also, like, I want to be there for the Margaret Cho thing.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds great. Is there anything else you want to share?
No, yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, guys. You can follow me at The Funny Thing Is Podcast on all socials and at Nicole Birch Comedy, along with NicoleComedy.com, where you can see my touring schedule. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.